going on, Mr. Pittman? I feel good. How you doing?
Yeah, things are going swell.
Oh, okay. You relaxing?
Yes, sir.
Enjoying that retirement life, huh?
Oh yeah, sure am.
Man, it's been a minute, but we was do a little a segment on Inoue, and I guess after we talk about Inoue's next move, touch on Fulton, and we'll whatever it leads us to, we'll get into that. But looking at Inoue, man, some news came out, and I sent you a couple articles, and it's looking like Inoue, from my synopsis, he's actually going to become, if he's able to do this, in a full calendar year, from December to December, it's a very much possibility that he could be in a consecutive weight class of having Undisputed back-to-back from December to December, because all the talks are saying that they haven't reached an agreement fully yet, but everybody's optimistic and they're still working out some things. But he stands to make Marlon Tapales his highest career payday, looking to do it once again over there in Japan, and they're looking at doing it in December if possible. So what do you think about that?
I think that fight is going to take place. Okay, he was at Inoue's fight with Fulton, and at the conclusion of the fight, he was there. He stepped in the ring and he acknowledged that he wanted that fight. So that fight is gonna happen. It's just a matter of, dotting the I's, crossing the T's, getting everything solidified. But that is going to happen, and I do believe it will happen before the end of the year. I really do. I really think that fight is gonna happen.
Man, so I know who you got. You still got Inoue up there, number one, number two. What you got him? You got him number one.
Okay, right now, based on what Bud did, I have to give Bud the number one spot right now, Bud is undisputed in 2 different weight classes, Now, Inoue has the possibility of being undisputed in 2 weight classes. If he can successfully win this fight towards the end of the year, whenever they schedule it. If in fact he's able to do that, then he will be equal to Bud in terms of undisputed in 2 weight classes. The only distinction that will separate them is that Inoue has more championships in different weight classes. So as far as the stats go, his stats will be a little better than Bud's if he's able to pull it off. Then if he's able to do that, now we once again will have an argument for him being number one pound for pound. The argument would be there.
Yeah, it's another big fight in between there. It's another big fight coming up with big implications with the Undisputed at 54 fighting the Undisputed at 168. Now, on Canelo's behalf, if he wins, he would have just be a guy, the Undisputed champ at 154 to retain his 168. If Jermell Charlo wins, he would become a 2-time Undisputed at 154 and 168. So, depending on, that fight, the boxing guys graced us with that can throw a big monkey wrench. They can kind of throw a big monkey wrench in there, because public perception is that Canelo Alvarez is still up there, and Jermell Charlo would be daring to be great in the same vein as Bud, and Inoue having moved up, all of the weight classes. So that's something to consider in between now and then. But I'm with you in your line of thinking. Now the actual fight, I seen Tapales against MJ, and from the crowd's reaction, from what actually, took place in the ring, man, it, some can argue, well, MJ had, a bad night, but I don't see Tapales being able to give Inoue any problems. I don't really see anything that would say, and now I'm starting to wonder, like, was MJ really being pushed? Because I watched him. I think he was the guy that comes in with the beret on and stuff like that. I watched him, look like a little G.I. Joe. But he didn't really show me, but I think that it was a letdown because everybody thought that the next fight was going to be MJ and Inoue, because their names had been linked for a while, together. So that fight, I don't really see her presenting any challenges, but I'm with you in that it sounds like that's, the way Inoue, he got a track record. I mean, look, he's offering this guy his biggest payday. He gets a chance to share the ring with Inoue and see what he can bring to the table. And just like, nobody saw Tapales really, I didn't see anybody predicting Tapales to beat MJ. So he came out of nowhere and got the upset. So, he's going to come to try to do his thing and upset the apple cart. I just, with the skill set and what I see so far, I got to go back and look at some more of Tapales when we go back and we do our little breakdown, once it get etched in stone and we do our little CompuBox and we look at some film and do all that. We'll come back with that. But, man, Inoue is trailblazing once again.
Yes, he is, man. Yes, he is, man. And, for a long time, he was my favorite fighter. You know what I mean? Now, give credit where credit's due. I have to put Bud at the top right now because of what he accomplished, okay? Mm-hmm. But you only stay on top as long as there's nobody that can surpass you in what they have attributed or even come equal to you. That would create an argument for someone to maybe consider them being number one. So, it's between Bud and Inoue. They definitely 1 and 2. They definitely 1 and 2. And guess what? This could probably juggle a couple times. Mm-hmm. It could possibly go back and forth. So we just gotta wait and see what happens. Another thing you had sent to me, I saw it before, a conversation that Floyd had that he wants to try to match Inoue with Tank. To me, that is a improbable possibility right now, okay? The way I see it. I look at it this way. The task for Inoue is, if he can get Undisputed at 122, okay, his next move, strategically, the way I look at it, is to move to featherweight and then attempt to win championships and possibly be undisputed at featherweight. If he's successful to do that, then move up to the super featherweight, or which is also junior lightweight. And if he can continue to venture, that's the path he should take. Trying to match him up right now with Tank makes absolutely no sense, because it would be asking him to move up 3 weight classes to fight a fighter. I have not ever seen a champion move up 3 weight classes from one fight to meet another fighter and challenge him for his belt. It's asking him to move too far too fast. In order to move up to get a possible fight with Tank, it has to be a gradual incline. Not incline with you go from one division and move 3 weight classes up. So Floyd wanting him to fight, it makes absolutely no sense for the Inoue camp right now to even consider something like that. It is a total disadvantage. It's an unfair fight. And that's the way I feel about this talk about a possible fight with Inoue and Tank.
Yeah, I think one of the things is, you know, the fans have started clamoring for it, you know, and so you gotta understand when Floyd is talking about boxing, he's not looking at it from pretty much how he was in the ring as far as like legacy based and everything. In a way and everything, he's all about legacy, but they do have their ears to the streets and they're listening somewhat to the fans. So from a Floyd's angle, he's always playing it like, hey, it's gotta make money, it gotta make sense, because he put some stipulations like he would want Inoue to come over there to the United States and fight, and you know, some other things. So that kind of like in a roundabout way said, all right, well, I'm putting this out there. Just like back, you know, a couple years ago when everybody made a big deal when he said something about, I'm not going to build up my fighter and send him over to another promotional company and make them make money. He's like, we're not going to do that. And so everybody, you know, the internet blew up and they were talking about, oh man, Floyd say it's all in-house fights and this and this and this. But when we saw everything unfolding in the last 2 years in the sport of boxing, there have been pretty much in-house fights. And the mega fights, the big ones, the ones that really make sense money-wise, are the ones that actually cross-promoted. You know, it wasn't a lot on a minor scale, so that's something that's down the road. Me personally, I don't really want to entertain it because you're saying 3 weight classes, but that would be saying from where he's at now. So right now, he's in his 5th, and that's 3 weight classes from where he's at now, so that's 8. I said if anything, because Naoya is 30, Tank is 28, I said if anything, like you said, I know he's going to go after legacy and he's going to get, you know, he's going to go ahead and get it on with Tapales to settle that business, get Undisputed there. I know Fulton is being reported that he's actually moving up. You know, he's going to go ahead and go up to 126 and attempt to try to get a belt, to try to get a rematch. So the natural progression would be to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. That'd be a good one if Fulton, that'd be, you know, because he still got upside. He lost to, you know, arguably number 2, number 1 right now, depending on how people see it. You know, he lost to that guy, so he has nothing but an upside. And that would make sense, and that's the path that Inoue is on. Plus Bob, he's not really with it right now. So I say in a natural progression, it would have to happen to where after that, I think, because Coach Kenny said Tank can move up or down. If it would ever happen, it would be after he conquered the 126 in Inoue, and then if he goes to 130, Tank will come down and they would meet. That's the only way I would even really want to entertain it. But that's, you know, that's way out there. But I think Floyd was really addressing it because he don't really do a lot of interviews, and the people that ask the questions are asking stuff that the fans keep murmuring, because they are starting to kind of listen to the fans, man. They start, so they'll entertain some things that, you know, we're like, nah, if you're all about legacy and belts and the best, really fighting the best, like, then, you know, get away from the politics. Let's talk about realistic fights. In order for it to be real for me, that's what I would want to happen.
Yeah, and Floyd making that statement now, you know, as far as I'm concerned, Floyd was the best that ever did it. Now, that's my observation of Floyd. Now, I know that can be debatable, but Floyd, as far as I'm concerned, is the best that ever did it. Now, when Triple G was in his heyday, okay, when he was at the top of the food chain, there were talks being made about Floyd fighting Triple G. And you know what Floyd's camp and all said? They said, well, and especially his father, he said, well, Floyd is not a middleweight, you know, so he's not a middleweight fighter, so we're not even interested in fighting Triple G because we're not in that weight class. Now, if the great Floyd Mayweather and his camp can say, no, we're not moving up to middleweight because Floyd is not a middleweight, then why would you suggest that Inoue move up 3 weight classes to fight Tank? That's hypocritical. You wouldn't do it to fight Triple G when he was at the top because you say you wasn't a welterweight. Well, Inoue is not a lightweight.
Right.
So don't expect him to do something you wouldn't do. And boxing wise, it makes no practical sense at this particular time to entertain that thought.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but see, and for me, that's a good solid point you made about Triple G and Floyd. But to me as well, it's like, you know, since I be on top of boxing and I follow the guys I like, when I look at Tank, it's like if you're gonna have that energy for Inoue to do that, then we gotta have the energy for Tank to do it as well. Like you know, because it was, you know, Tank had made some jokes about Bud, and Bud was like, hey, he said my chin I got a glass chin, then tell him come touch it. And Tank's coaches and stuff was saying, oh man, y'all know Tank be joking, like if you cut it, you know, if you cut it, you can see that he was joking about it. But I'm like, you know, it go for me, this is why I say, you know, I be straight down the middle with it. For me, you gotta have that same energy for Bud. I was like, man, shoot, if you want to dare to be great, go do it. Because if you lose, you arguably lost to the best. But if you can go steal all of that, they would have to say you are that guy. But that's how I look at it. That's how I weigh the scales. It's like, okay, well, if we would expect, because, you know, at some point, you know, if you keep daring to be great and daring to be great and daring to be great, you know, like Errol Spence, like, you know, that's a prime example of, you know, daring to be great, and then you might take a loss at some point, you know. But we gotta have it. If we can have it from down coming up, we gotta have it from where we at going up too, you know. As far as Tank, like, they gotta have that same energy as far as them willing to go up. And now he did 140, but he would have to go up, you know, he would have to go touch 147. He was at 40, so that'll be one more. So for me, that's how I look at it. That's why I'm like, if anybody want to argue or debate that's the whole thing as far as that's concerned. You know, we be asking for a lot of people to do a lot of things, but we gotta be willing to do a lot of things as well. You know, but both of them guys, man, it's brought up because Naoya got a whole country. You know what I'm saying? Tank is one of the faces, you know, that kind of stirred apart, you know, and pretty much number-wise right now, I know they say Canelo is over all box office, but Tank put 1.2 to fight with him and Ryan. So he just demonstrated that with the right dance partner, they can do numbers. So that's what that conversation was really, you know, driven on. But what do you think about when I said about Stephen FUlton? Because, you know, I'm going to do an episode on him and Earl, and they're going to be in my adversity university, because sometimes some of the greatest fighters face adversity. And I'm going to give you this example. When I think it was Marquez who knocked out Manny Pacquiao, when you look at that fight, he knocked him out like cold. He knocked him out cold, right? And, you know, he fell arms down, like he fluffed his pillow. And he came back. You know, he came back. He beat Keith Thurman. He took Keith Thurman's belt. So I think that this is what I be talking about when we talk about boxing and we want to be responsible. We gotta be channels like this and voices like yours that can come and bring a little bit of history and you know, in real time, because you was there, you saw it, you don't have any agenda, you don't do content. Like, we gotta remember history. There is a bounce back. There is a get back. You know, Fulton, he dared to be great. He traveled over there. He lost to arguably one of the best fighters on the planet. We know he is. But he's talking about what I've been seeing reported, he's talking about going up to 126, mixing it up, seeing if he can get, grab a title, and then, try to see if he can see Inoue when he, as on his quest, barring Inoue. Now, it's a guy named Robeisy Ramiro up there. But let's talk about Fulton real quick, man, and give him his salute, because he was a good champion. He didn't really say much afterwards. He took his his L like a man, and other than the little glove stuff beforehand and the calling him a hype job, I think that the whole thing through and through, it didn't go his way inside the ring, but overall I think he did a good job. What do you think? What do you think about that and his next move?
Yeah, I think I agree with you. He did a good job. Now, Fulton moving up to featherweight, okay? This is what I see that's got to happen on his journey. Coming off a loss and moving into a brand new weight class, okay? Fulton is not going to be eligible for an immediate title shot, because you got others that's in that division, and you have people that's already designated as the number one contenders for that next division he's stepping into. In order to make a mark that will make him eligible for a champion, he's going to have to get in the ring and he's going to have to fight somebody that can perpetuate him to the next level of getting a title shot. His title shot at this particular point, for the fairness of boxing, isn't an automatic step right now, because technically moving into featherweight, he's not a recognized featherweight with credibility deserving of a title shot right now. Okay, so he's going to have to get into the division. He's going to have to fight one or two people that can perpetuate him for a chance for a belt. If he's able to do that and be successful, then now you can have a discussion about maybe him fighting Inoue again if Inoue is successful and moves up. But knowing Inoue, when Inoue moves up to the featherweight division, if he's successful towards the end of the year in this fight, Inoue is not going to wait on Stephen FUlton to try to get a title before they can fight again. Inoue is going to go directly after one of the champions. Well, he's going to go after one of them. And then once he gets one of those belts, if Fulton is able to get a belt in that division, now you can have a conversation of a rematch.
Well, let me say something real quick. You're absolutely right in regards to how things should typically work when it comes to that belt. And I'm gonna give this. I did a video a long time ago about Rolly, and I always bring him up. But I did a video and it had him on there, and they had that commercial. You can learn a lot from a dummy. Buckle up. You know that commercial that used to come on. So I had him on there, and they said you can learn a lot from a dummy, because Rolly is really smart. But Rolly got knocked out by Tank, moved up to 140 and got a title shot. It depends on how the rankings go, and how if Fulton can put himself out there and campaign for it. We've seen it happen with Loma, but that's a PBC guy, and it probably would be for like whatever belts, on that side up there. I would have to go the next time we have this conversation, I'm gonna go back and look at the rankings with Fulton now and everything being repositioned up there at 126, because I know Robeisy got one, and they've already linked, like I said, they already linked him to Inoue, so it could happen. I'm not gonna say it can't happen, but likely. I would just say just to kind of get I don't know. I think when you come back from a loss like that, because I'm thinking about him and I'm looking at Earl. Earl in the same situation, because that's gonna happen at 154. And when you're coming back from a loss like that, it's different because Earl actually had the rematch, but he's still coming off of a loss. And you think when you lose like that as a champion, you've never tasted defeat. You've been the one, doing the business, doing the do, coming back for your psyche and for your confidence, going up a weight class. For Earl, it's more of a weight thing, drain thing. For Fulton, for me, it's more of a, who am I going to be in this new division, this 126? So how do I want to maneuver myself? Or do I just want to go for a gusto? Do I just want to try to see, depending on where I'm ranked at, to go straight forward? We don't know. I'm going to have to keep an eye on it. And then, we'll see. But you right. I think Inoue he's laser focused. They got him linked to Robeisy already, and they put him on that undercard because he was on that undercard of the Fulton Inoue fight.
Yeah, going back to, you mentioned Rolly. I think, the unfairness of boxing sometimes, okay, was exhibited when Rolly got a chance for a title fight in the next weight class after coming out of a knockout loss. He was not deserving at that particular time of a title shot. That title shot should have went to somebody that's already credible in that division. It should have been two combatants out of that weight class that's at the top who were deserving of a title shot. How Rolly got a title shot, the deck was really stacked. He wasn't supposed to get a title shot. Now that's just my opinion.
No, he wasn't. No, I don't agree, because it was moving up a class, and being right at the title when people were in line. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So I just wanted to give that as an example, but historically and traditionally, logically, the way you said it is how it works. But some funny things happen in boxing, so that's the only reason why I mentioned it, because some funny things be happening. And we like that franchise tag thing, that came out of nowhere. So just little things I introduced with the time. That's why I just introduced those, because I've had a paradigm shift in boxing, after watching these last fights and seeing where the sport is going in the direction. So I don't rule out anything when you've seen some sporadic things being introduced. But I think I just really wanted to salute Fulton and give him his credit, for being, for putting it on the line. Because a lot of people are playing dodgeball. A lot of people are saying, oh no, the money ain't right. Rightfully so, because you can't tell anybody they worth. A lot of people, play chess to where they finally, get it done and shock the world, like Bud, and break the bank, and get half. Just dig in and, use somebody's stubbornness to their advantage. Just a lot of, things going on in boxing. So, I think he needed, I don't know. I don't really follow a lot of his people, but I got to do some research and keep tabs on Fulton, man, because more people need to be like him. I think his move inspired Devin Haney to go up and fight Regis. What do you think about that fight?
I think that's going to be a very interesting fight. That's going to be a big test for Haney, because he's moving up. He's fighting a bigger individual, and Haney is not known for having that one-punch stoppage power. And because of that, he's going to have to fight 12 rounds, basically, to keep Regis off of him. So therefore, this is not going to be a gimme for Haney. He's going to have to fight, and he's going to have to be perfect, because if he has any flaws, he could possibly get hit and hurt by a bigger fighter than what he's ever fought before. So the intangibles that's created in this matchup are incredible. And it makes this fight an even fight. It could go either way. So this is a good matchup. I give Haney credit for moving into that class and going directly for a belt. So I give him credit for daring to be great.
Yeah, and I don't think he's going to go back down to 35. I heard that, you know, if he did, you know, he'll be able to fight the champion and whoever, you know, has the belt. But there's a lot of, you know, reports coming out that Shakur Stevenson and Frank Martin were in heavy negotiations. So, I mean, what do you think about that? They're getting ready to fight for a vacant, because I don't think Lomachenko is going to fight Shakur Stevenson, whether it's top rank or whatever it is. I think they positioned him to get another belt or another shot against, like, somehow him and Kambosos are going to do something. But in regards to the fighters that you're interested in, what do you think about the first glances of these guys being in heavy negotiations, Shakur Stevenson and Frank the Ghost Martin?
Okay, for that fight to happen, right, for it to really solidify, okay, we gotta wait to see what happens with Devin and Regis fight, okay? If Devin is successful, okay, then Devin will probably not come back to 135 because he will have captured a title in a new weight class. So the probability of him coming back isn't that great. And plus he indicated that, you know, it's a little difficulty making that weight. So after the Prograis and Devin fight, you're really looking at a possibility for Shakur and Frank Martin to be fighting for a vacated belt. The probability is real strong because you don't fight him either or. Don't fight each other unless there's a belt on the line. Because if you fight in a non-title fight and either one loses, that takes them a step down off the podium for fighting for a belt. So the best thing to happen for them is for Haney to win, vacate his belt, and then they can get a title fight, even if they don't fight each other.
Nah, it's gonna be
they'll get a title shot because it'll be 4 belts on the line.
But that's already a done deal, though. That's already a done deal. That belt is already gonna be gone. Devin ain't gonna have it. They're gonna make it to where whatever happened with the result of that other one, he can come down. But that belt is gone. He relinquishing it. It's gone. So that's the belt they're fighting for. So it's not gonna be based on the result of that Regis and Devin fight. It's already a done deal. That belt, he'll be able to come back down and, you know, fight whoever win it, but it's already up for grabs.
Okay, well, that's a good thing for them. But let's say, for example, Devin wins. If Devin wins and decides he's staying at 140, not only will that one belt be open, but the other 3 will be open too.
Yeah, they already positioned. That's what I was saying. Like Kambosos and Lomachenko, they trying to do that, and then, you know, the other ones you just gotta see. You just gotta see what happened with the other ones. But they already, people are already getting put in position for them already. I just gotta go back and look at the rankings. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't do that because this one was really about Naoya, and I just got to go back and look at the rankings and see how they sizing them up. But that's what I know in regards to them fighters that we actually like and talk about.
Well, I tell you what, Frank Martin will get a title shot. Shakur Stevenson will get a title shot. Loma is in line for a title shot because many people want to see a rematch with him and Devin. Okay? Not only that, Pitbull will be in line for a title shot. If 4 belts become open, all of those fighters that I mentioned are deserving of title shots.
I think Tank could get elevated, so he'll be the WBA. And
maybe look, who knows? Maybe Tank will fight for one of those belts.
he gonna get the WBA. He gonna, I mean, cause he got, so he gonna get bumped. He gonna get moved up. He gonna get elevated. So, but yeah, I mean, I ain't, that's really what's going on. I mean, I got a little hangover from not seeing the Tank Devin thing, but somebody else said this, and this is what I've been thinking all along. I've been thinking this all along. I think that you'll know when two fighters really want to fight because they at the weight, they at the desired weight. None of that's a problem. That excuse will be gone. And they actually seek the fight. They actually meet and they demonstrate that they're progressing towards the fight, or you'll hear something like that. And I would like for Tank, if he is to fight Devin, I would like him to go ahead and fight him at 140. If you do it at 35, it'll just be, it was just weight. It was something. You know what I'm saying? So obviously the suits, they said that the fight ain't ready. I'm guessing they want Devin numbers to be higher because sometimes the belts don't translate the numbers. So they want the numbers to be a certain kind of way. As a boxing fan, I just want to see them two fight. I think that it divides, just like the Spence and Bud thing. It kind of divides the boxing community when there's nothing really to divide until they actually get in the ring. You picking left side, I'm picking right side. You picking red, I'm picking blue. That's really all it is, and I got a justification as to why blue gonna beat red, and you got your little rebuttal as to why red gonna do this to blue. That's all it is, but it divides the community. When that shouldn't be that line, because we drew our line in the sand right before the fight. And we gotta live with what we drew the line. And based on where we drew the line, we stood on it. And I still stand on it. But outside of that, I think that a lot of the banter, a lot of the back and forth, a lot of the little silly stuff that go on is not really necessary, especially amongst the fans. We just want to see the best fight the best.
Yes, exactly. That's what we as boxing fans want to see. We want to see good, competitive fights. Yeah. And we want to see fights that are deserving of two individuals fighting for a title. Because when you got two individuals fighting for a title, it puts a greater emphasis on the bout. And it becomes must-watch TV when a title is on the line. It enhances the fight. It enhances the enthusiasm. So we want to see some championship fights. We as fight fans.
Yeah, and sometimes when you look back, man, time. That's what I'm kind of trying to learn that too as well. Is just be patient with boxing, because when you look back and you say that certain fights should have been made, when you wanted them. Like, a lot of people say, oh man, Tank should have fought Loma. It's like, well, you like 19. If you a young person and you get that shot, sometimes it don't go right. You might have lost because you needed to mature or develop, because the amateurs are totally different than the pros. And then sometimes you might have found yourself in a weight class way too long. You might be the man, but you're dealing with the weight, because that was Devin. That could have been, Devin and Loma could have turned out like Bud and Spence. That could have happened. So it's just different stages, and boxing is all about timing. So sometimes you just gotta be patient with boxing, man. When you're ready to, ring, because we got a lot of good fights. We're gonna continue getting good fights. We got Andrade and Benavidez getting ready to fight. Jamel, Canelo, they getting ready to fight. It's a lot of fights. It's a lot of fights of some big names. So we're getting what we want. But certain fights, the way they're being built, and sometimes the politics behind it, it's like the suits gotta feel like it's ready, because they know the implications of how big that fight can be. So, sometimes I gotta sit back and be patient with boxing and just enjoy what we're getting sometimes. You know, push for what we want, but enjoy what we're getting.
Yeah, you know, when the first initial thoughts of a Tank Lomachenko fight, okay, when those talks began to start circulating, the reason why that fight didn't take place is because Floyd was not comfortable with that fight, because at the time Lomachenko was a class heavier than Tank, and Floyd did not want at that particular time for Tank to move up to fight Lomachenko, okay? And initially that's why that fight was kind of put on hold, because they weren't in the same weight class. If they were in the same weight class, there would have been an automatic collision class, because they was in the same class. But at the time when those talks initiated, Lomachenko was in a class a little heavier than Tank, so the demand couldn't be put on that fight as any type of mandatory or a must situation fight, because they weren't in the same weight class at the time.
Yeah, I mean that's always being brought up, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, okay, if that was the case, then there's been plenty of times after that where them two could have, you know, the stars could have aligned and they could have did it. And you know, I know one of the biggest criticisms people say about Tank is the names. Even though, you know, he got Leo Santa Cruz, you know, he got the Pedraza, he got Mario Barrios, but the names that everybody, the big names that everybody want, like they all, you know, want to fight Tank, but there are errors that go by where we're not seeing it. Like we missed, because I don't really think Tank gonna fight Loma. It could happen. I mean, you know, Devin, if Tank don't go to 140, I don't think that Devin fight gonna happen. So the Teofimo Lopez era, when he had it and he was running around, you know, with the majority of the belts other than the one that the WBC mailed Devin. So we missed the Tank and T.O. We missed so Devin just left Mr. Tank and Devin. So I'm looking at Tank and Shakur. And that's where they did a coin flip. And it landed on Shakur, because it was between Shakur and Devin, and it landed on Shakur. And now all we hearing is that Shakur got to do what he got to do to let his people fight whoever. And Bob, I haven't even heard him say anything about it. So when I look at Tank, that's how I look at it. Like, yeah, you the man, you are the man. People say you had a talent, but like, this barrier between you and this name and that name. At this point, it's like it's time to just go on your killing spree. I mean, you already doing it, but just get these names, like, silence the critics. You know, pull the trigger on some of these names, because there's some errors that's being missing. That's why I keep telling myself, just be patient with boxing. Just be patient with boxing.
It's just not an entertainment sport. It is a business.
Yep.
And in many cases, if the business part of it is not right and satisfying to those that call the shots, then that fight can be delayed. And the problem with a fight being delayed is that everyone who steps in the ring is not always guaranteed a victory. You could have a loss, which derails the possibility of two combatants fighting. And now you got the winner of this fight that's in position to fight. So winning means everything, and there's no guarantee that you're going into a fight and that you're going to win. There's no guarantee on that.
Yeah, because some people get a lot of bites at the apple, and then some people can barely even, they can barely even get a taste. So, you just gotta, like I say, you gotta be patient with boxing and stay tuned. But I'm satisfied. I'm still satisfied. I just thought that it's been a minute, and I just wanted to see and hear, and news came out about Inoue and what his moves were, and I just reflected on Fulton and Spence and Bud coming up. So figured I'd chit chat with you about it, and I got a little segment I'm working on with Boots and Stan Giannis, and I'm just breaking that down now. So I'm about to look up the CompuBox and get all that, because I think them, with the belts, Bud gotta, because I'm thinking, man, he can let him go if he gonna be 54 trying to fight Canelo and all that. He can. It's time to let them things go, you know what I'm saying, and let 47, remember that feeding frenzy we said was waiting, just like at 35 with Devin going up, that feeding frenzy is right there at 47. Oh, and we got Ugas and Mario Barrios coming up. That was announced. So that's at 47. So it's a frenzy there, but that's what I'm working on. I don't know why people aren't asking Boots and Stan Giannis, because the Bud thing, yeah, we want it, but Bud, I mean, he get his victory lap or whatever, but for whatever reason they acting like that can't happen. So I'm looking at, okay, what can happen, and I think Boots and Stan Giannis can happen, even though I would like to see Boots and Bud, but Earl got his rematch. So I'm on to Boots, realistically, Boots and Stan Giannis. That's what I got my eyes on.
Yeah, that would be a good, entertaining fight. And I'm gonna tell you the truth. Boots and Stan Giannis, I would like to see them fight for a vacant title. If Crawford is gonna stay up at 154 and not coming back, he's already solidified in the record books being undisputed at 147. He's already got that. That can't be taken back. If he's gonna go to 154 and gonna campaign at 154, let the belts go. Let these guys fight for some titles. Yeah, don't keep them on hold. Let them fight for some titles.
But I think Boots and Stan Giannis, they got some kind of secondary belts. I think IBF and WBA, but yeah, I mean, they, it's lining up. And I agree. I think, it's just we gotta wait to see these, these fight like that. Jermell Charlo, I think that's one of the answers, and then Bud actually, looking at that, that's like a trickle down effect. So, that's what we at.
I really think that what's gonna happen when it all boils down, okay? I think Bud and Zoo will fight for a vacant title. I really do. Because either way, I don't think that Charlo may be successful in retaining that WBO belt, because it's in line right now for him to lose it. Now, he's going to put up a petition why he thinks he should be able to keep it. But because him and Zoo was already signed to fight, and because there was a hand injury that postponed the fight, he had an opportunity to fulfill that obligation. But instead of fulfilling that obligation, he decided, I'm going to fight Charlo. And because he's not fulfilling that obligation, I don't think they obligated to hold that belt for him. The way they looking at it, it's like, you reneged. Yeah, you already signed to fight him. Granted, we understand you had an injury that was supposed to put the fight back. But not just put it back, you canceled the whole fight all along. And I don't believe he's going to win his petition to keep that WBO belt. I really don't. So, it put Bud in an excellent position to fight for that belt. And the best person to fight for it would be Zoo. These are the two people, one person moving up, they're in the big rate, and Zoo that's well deserving of fighting for the title because he's been waiting on hold.
I mean, that would kill two birds with one stone, you know. I wish they would let him keep it at least until the verdict of that fight, and then, you know, so he could, you know, really be able to say he had both of them at the same time, even if they were going to take it. I just wish they wait. But the Bud and Zoo fight, that would kill two birds with one stone. Yeah, I mean, and it would get everything rolling because, shoot, I think I heard glimpses of Jamel saying, I don't know how it works, but whatever happens, it might be a rematch. I didn't look at all the fine details on it, but he was saying, it's going to be a rematch. And then I'm like, man, so that might be tied up. You know how Canelo move. Canelo might move a different direction and come back. I don't know all the particulars on that. That's not my area of expertise, but I am saying that it would kill two birds in one stone with Bud fighting Zoo, so that 47 can get going, 54 can get, you know, in the direction that it's going. You know, Earl can, you know, start doing whatever it's going to be at 54. A lot of things can happen, you know, once that fight happens. So, and that belt gets, you know, put up for grabs. So, yeah, I think that's it. That's a lot more, you know, it's a lot more things, but I think we did good on this one.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, we covered a lot. We talked about what we needed to, and then there was a few other intangibles that was added in there that still is interested when you talk about the scope of boxing. So I think everything we talked about was positive.
Yep. All right, then. Well, again, I'll still be sending you stuff, and we'll crank up another one. And if there's anything on your mind, you can let me know. I shouldn't be on call after tomorrow, so I'll be kind of free.
Sounds good.
All right, then. Well, enjoy your evening.
You do the same, sir.
All right, then.
All right.
Peace. Well, that was my old head K. Got in some of that good Inoue talk. We talked about Fulton and Spence and the landscape and the belts and a little bit of politics, a little bit of Floyd history, some Triple G of all things. You know, thanks to the Oracle, ldHead, the Spaniard, everybody who, you know, tunes in and supports the channel. You know, on my channel, man, a like is like a super chat. A comment is like a share. You know, I just appreciate everybody who like and comment on the channel and give their feedback. And, you know, we don't do yes men over here. You can have your own opinion over here. We just like talking about boxing from inside the ring out. Meaning that we talk the X's and O's first. And if it leads us outside into the politics, we know enough to go there. Thanks for tuning in here at BodyWorkBoxing, where we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.